This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
The biggest icon in podcasting.
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of the DocNJock Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host, Adam the Jock Strozinski. On today's show, this WWE star explains why she did not re-up with WWE. And this former WCW and AAA star is dealing with a serious health issue. We'll get into all of that later on in the show. This is your AEW All-In from Wembley Go Home preview. First off, I want to thank everybody for coming back and tuning in with us this week. We didn't have a show last week. I want to thank the doc for giving me a little time to get some personal affairs in order. I proposed to my girlfriend, and so I had that going on, and it was pretty great. It was a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to that. 10 years we're going on doing these podcasts, and bigger, better, brighter futures for both of us here. So I wanted to thank you for giving me the time to kind of do that and take care of some personal matters along with that. So thank you. Bringing to the main stage right now, he is the one who I just thanked. He is the one, the only. He is the Doc John Macaroon. What's up, cuz?
Baby, all in. A lot of people are all in. Seems like that's the word of the week. All in. Some people are taking the plunge. Adam's all in. AEW's all in. Maybe a future WWE Hall of Famer is all in. Maybe going to make a move. We'll see if he's going to take care of business and do what he's got to do, or maybe he's already in the Hall of Fame. Time goes by so fast, it all blends together. But what a big-ass week of wrestling ahead that is going to take place Sunday, All In. And then the next week's podcast, we got to talk about All Out. So it's going to be crazy the next couple weeks in the world of wrestling. And boy, I'll say this. You and I aren't going to WrestleMania next year. That's a fact. When the 45th row is $1,000 a ticket, we will not be seeing Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, the next edition. No doubt about it, because that shit's expensive. That's crazy.
Let's start right there, Phil.
That shit's crazy.
Let's start there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, the prices, I feel like at this point, like we joke about it and we talk about it. The WrestleMania is essentially the Super Bowl of WWE. And we both get it, right? It's what it's referred to. It's what it is. But all that being said, they are pricing these tickets like it's the actual Super Bowl. Wow. And you know what happens at the Super Bowl? You basically push the fan out. You push the hardcore fan out, and it just kind of becomes a corporate spectacle. At this point, I've seen those prices that you were showing Kenny and myself. Absolutely unreal.
40th row.
Who the hell is going to this event? It's just too damn expensive. It was like $2,000 for floor seats. What are we doing?
Yeah, here's the problem. When then the next day or 5 hours later, like at 4 p.m., they can put out a release that says we sold 90,000 of those tickets. It's a big world, cuz, and it is. I don't know. The question that was talked about when we were in line for SummerSlam was, what's the ceiling? Where's it? You basically have tapped out the common fan, where we're talking about the floor seats are about 17 rows, and then 35 rows up is still $1,000. So you just to even have a chance to sit, you got to sit like 90 rows up to get in anywhere near like $300-400. So it's not worth it for the average fan. And I don't know. The problem is that the ever-growing market in capitalism, it always is, you charge what people will pay. When you sell 90,000 tickets to an event that has no matches, that's 8 months away, and you get a gate of you get $22 million in the bank to just sit there for 8 months. Fuck it. Next time is $1,200, and you see, and then you roll it back. I just think that it's tough that you and I can't comprehend it, because I never could imagine saying, let's have an event for DocNJock and charge people $1,000 and then see 90,000 people pay it, because then you go, well, why didn't we charge $1,500? So it's a crazy thing. And I do believe in the next 5 years, the market will correct itself in wrestling. But right now people are paying it, and people are paying it in droves. And it is crazy to think about that WWE and AEW sold that many tickets for events without really the marquee matchups being announced just yet. So it's a great time for wrestlers, but yeah, the big events and the big time stuff if you want to go there, you basically got to blow a year's budget for the average person. It's got to be your thing. It's got to be your vacation for the year to go to, it'd be worth it. $6,000 to go to SmackDown, WrestleMania, pick a night, and then the Raw the next day. You make it a trip 4 or 5 days, and you call that the trip for the year. For the average wrestling fan, you could do that, but it does not leave room for anything else really for everybody else. But yeah, $1,000 for 40th row is
and look,
crazy.
I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's worth it, because if you get a show like we got for SummerSlam, I think you can say you and I were both a little underwhelmed, me more than you. I was upset with what I paid for my tickets, right? And I didn't even pay for it. My girlfriend paid at the time. My girlfriend, now my fiance, paid for those. So, like, I was upset with what we spent on those tickets and the show we got. It left a lot to be desired. If you're going to spend that type of money, and you're going to go and you're going to get, even if it's one night, you talk about it, it's SmackDown, then it's 2 nights of WrestleMania, and then you probably got the Raw after. There's also the Hall of Fame ceremony. If one of those nights are a little bit off, it's going to leave a bit of a bitter taste. And I just feel like the market is absolutely crazy. Also, here's the secret. This is what WWE does. They go out and they sell you these tickets at a crazy price initially. If you wait till closer to the event, it's unreal how much they drop the tickets just to try to get butts in seats. If you are actually serious about going to one of these major pay-per-views, or as they call it, a premium live event, just wait. Just if you just care about being in the building, right? And you say you want a floor seat, they'll be available. They will be there. You don't have to buy them off the secondary market. You can go and you can buy them from WWE. They are available, and the price falls dramatically. For the seats that we ended up getting, the price was roughly 40% cheaper the day of, and about 35% cheaper the week of. So you can get those. They can be a little bit more affordable. So just be smart about it if you're looking to do that. I do want to touch on something that you kind of glossed over when you were talking about when you were introed. Edge had his final match on Friday, and it was against Sheamus, and it was a really good match. And he had a really nice conversation. He addressed the Toronto crowd. We had been talking about this for over a year, about how this was going to be his last match, and he may be retiring. And it really did feel like he was retiring from WWE. There's been a lot of speculation that Edge may be going to AEW. Now, he won't be available for All In, which we're going to be getting into next, but he will be available for their big show at Archer Ashe Stadium. I believe that'll be in September, towards the end of September. So there is the possibility that Edge continues his career, but it's in an AEW ring, and he'll be under his real name, Adam Copeland, and he will probably get to wrestle with Christian. And there's a good chance we'll get Christian and Edge taking on a team of the Hardy Boys and the Young Bucks. And I think that could be pretty fantastic. I think that could be really, really entertaining. What are your thoughts, and where do you feel like Edge goes? Does Edge end up actually retiring, or does he end up in AEW? And how do you feel about that? Does that kind of taint any of those memories or those legacies that you have with him in WWE?
See, here's the thing, and it's crazy too, because there's monetary gain to have Adam Copeland in AEW, but at the same time, there's also the talk too then that it opens you up to the perception that, okay, once you cash out at WWE, then you go and finish your career with AEW. It makes you look like a secondary promotion. It makes you look like...
It makes it feel almost like WCW.
Yeah, it makes you look like you're secondary. See, what AEW's got to do now, they're at the point now where Nitro kicked in. They started taking Lex Luger. They started taking the likes of Hulk Hogan. They started getting then the stars that were still coming off of good feuds like Kevin Nash and Scott Hall and those that were still popular. So what really AEW needed to do was they needed to swing for the fences to get Kevin Owens, to get Drew McIntyre, and then you could have paired them all together with Adam Copeland. I mean, you have basically a group together right there, 3 guys, outsiders, whatever name you're going to call them, Rebel Rousers, the Rebels, whatever you want to call them, you got to start getting stars from WWE, not just the older guys that are retired, because then you start making your company look like the secondary promotion where, okay, everybody cashes out. They have their run in the Premier League, and then when they're 40 or when they're 34 years old and all the young guns and 18-year-olds come up, then you go to the MLS and you cash in and you score 4 goals a game against competition that you don't belong playing with, like Messi. Messi's like, this is the best thing ever. I make $50 million a year and I get to score 3 goals a game against guys that can't wash my boots, and I'm almost 37, 38 years old. This is great. So you risk doing that, but I think it's fine. I'd love to see it, but it's not as fun anymore when you keep taking every star under the sun. It isn't really moving the needle too much in AEW.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun to watch. I don't necessarily know. I thought the same thing, right? When I heard this, I was like, man, it just kind of feels like AEW is like old school WCW, and they're just kind of picking up all the older guys that left WWE and brought them in. But I think Edge has at least 1 or 2 more good years left. It could be interesting. I would be all aboard seeing Edge, Christian, and the Hardys and Young Bucks get in the ring and have a tables, ladders, and chair match. And if you could get the Dudleys involved for a one-night show, I think that would be a barn burner of a match.
People would love to see that for sure.
Absolutely. All right, let's get into our pay-per-view.
Here we go.
Again, AEW from Wembley. This is like the biggest show in AEW history, one of the biggest shows in all of wrestling history. How pumped up are you for this pay-per-view?
I'm okay with it. I think that, in my mindset, I think that All Out will deliver more in terms of impact. I think that, you're going to get apeshit crowd from Europe anyway because they're excited. So I think the wrestling will be good, whereas the storylines maybe will be better on All Out. But I just love the matches. I think it's going to be entertaining. I think it's going to be worthwhile to watch. And I think that everybody knows the importance of that kind of match. I think that it's being compared to SummerSlam when, you had a lot of great sentiment and a lot of great outcome from WWE having an event over in England. So I'm definitely thinking that that's the same kind of attitude they want to bring. And I think Tony Khan's going to deliver, and the wrestlers are going to want to pay attention to everything that goes on with the company. And I think that everyone's going to ball out. It's going to be a great show, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, it should be a fantastic show. I do feel like the build to this could have been better.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I think it's going to be a really good, entertaining show. I also love the fact that I think it's at like 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
You know how AEW pay-per-views tend to go for 6 hours.
Yeah.
This will get you done right around dinner time, which will be great.
So this is Sunday.
We'll be having a fantasy football draft going on, so
yes,
we'll have it on for sure.
Perfect.
All right, so let's get this going. We have our 0-hour pre-show match. It's Aussie Open, who are the ROH World Tag Team Champions, taking on MJF and Adam Cole in a storyline I don't think I want to ever end, at least not right now. How do you see this one going? Does MJF and Adam Cole get tag team gold, or does Aussie Open retain?
It's really tough, man, because I have to view it as a way to add heat to the match. Do you have them win? I don't know. Do you start off with a pop? I think, in this prediction, I'm going to go against what my brain says and just go with what I think Tony Khan's going to do. I think it's going to be a great situation for MJF. You start the crowd off in a good spirit. I think they win it, and you have new champs.
So, look, I've gone back and forth about this because I'm in the same boat as you, right? Like, how do you book this? Because this right here is a prime spot to really book some chaos and really set up what is supposed to be your main event of Adam Cole taking on MJF for the world title. So what do you do here? Also, Aussie Open, I feel like just won these belts. I think we both hate when belts change hands very, very quickly. You like to see the team that has them, or you like to see the wrestler that has them have it for a little bit. So you hate to move those belts off of them so quickly. But all that being said, I think this is one of the best stories. This MJF Adam Cole storyline is fantastic. It is so much fun. Like I said, I don't want it to stop. And I think a way you help continue it is you put the ROH World Tag Team Championships on them and you make them the tag team title holders. So I'm going to side with you. I'm going to go MJF and Adam Cole. Now, we've got another tag team match. We've got FTR versus the Young Bucks. This is for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. Now, some news broke late last week where Cash Wheeler ended up getting charged with a gun charge. It sounds like he got into an altercation and he may have discharged a round while he was in this altercation. Now, it didn't hit anybody, but still he was arrested and he was booked and put into Florida jail. Now, he's not been found guilty. Things have been worked out. He will be able to get over to England, so that's not going to be a problem. But does this set up for the Young Bucks to be the champs? Do you take the belts off of FTR now? Because there is some real uncertainty here as to what's going to happen with Cash Wheeler going forward. What would you do in this situation? Would you book FTR to retain, or do you book for the Young Bucks to keep the belts, and that way you allow Cash Wheeler to go figure out his legal situation?
Yeah, before the situation, it was FTR all day. After the situation, it's time to go to change the titles. So, unfortunately, FTR's run will end. It's over.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I think it's just smart to protect your championship. And I feel like Cash Wheeler really hurt FTR. I think FTR was going to retain these belts because I think there's a little bit they could do on Collision with these belts. I think at this point, it is the smart booking decision to take the belts off of them, allow Cash Wheeler some time to go away, handle what he's got to handle, and get things situated. You don't need the belts. Just stay off of TV for a little bit, get things figured out, and then come back after you get that taken care of. We've got a coffin match. We've got Darby Allin and a rejuvenated Sting taking on Swerve Strickland and AR Fox. Again, this is a coffin match. Darby Allin, I think, is like 5-0 in coffin matches. So I'm going to go Darby Allin and Sting for the win on this one because Darby Allin hasn't lost a coffin match yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I think it's going to be spectacular. I think that the losers have an opportunity still to get over. Swerve is going to be definitely the darling of the crowd. I think that they liked his entrance, and I can't wait to see how the crowd plays into this with all the high spots and crazy shit they're going to try. And boy, what a match. Coffin match. Darby Allin, Sting, baby. Sting, what the fuck is this guy going to do? This guy lives for the moment. So, and Tony Khan said that Sting's been having the best run of his career, so we'll see what happens.
All right, our next match is a 6-man tag. We've got Battle for Gold. We've got the Golden Elite, consisting of Kota Ibushi, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Adam Page, versus Bullet Club Gold, consisting of Juice Robinson, Jay White, and Konosuke Takeshita. Easy for me to say, right? I see this one going out because I think the Golden Elite win this. Look, Bullet Club Gold is a lot of fun. I think you and I both believe Juice Robinson is the weak link here. I think Takeshita is fantastic, and I almost feel like they almost missed the mark on him. I felt like they could have booked him to be stronger sooner. They took their sweet ass time with it, but he is great, and Jay White is great. But all that being said, I think Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, and Hangman Page are even better. So I'm going to go with the Golden Elite.
Man, it's tough too, right? I'm going to go the opposite of you. I think that it's time that the heels do some things that are going to be unsavory. You play up maybe the dissension that could be happening with Hangman Page, or some miscommunication cost them the match. So I'm going to say Bullet Club Gold, baby.
All right. We've got Chris Jericho taking on Will Ospreay. This has been a bit of a weird build. You've had Don Callis trying to entice and trying to lure Chris Jericho into his family, the Don Callis family, only to set him up and only to take him out. And apparently Will Ospreay is now part of the Don Callis family. I think Will Ospreay wins this match. Will Ospreay is an incredible athlete. Will Ospreay is fantastic to watch, and it doesn't make any sense to me to not have him beat Chris Jericho. I think you can continue this feud after Will Ospreay beats Chris Jericho. You could have Chris Jericho looking for redemption. And I think that would probably be the best way to go with this. I think if you have Jericho beat Ospreay, then we're kind of done. Doesn't give you a whole lot to go from there. So I think Ospreay wins this, and I think we have a little bit of a continuation with this feud. How do you see it?
It's good. A great match, crowd into it. Yeah, Will Ospreay has to win it. I think it's a great opportunity to get the rub from Chris Jericho. It's going to be great to see the story that's told. Chris Jericho always delivers in the big moments. Can't wait to see the entrance. I can't wait to see the total package in this match. Will Ospreay is just must-see, top to bottom. Can't wait to see him.
All right, our next match, we've got Eddie Kingston and the Lucha Brothers, as well as the Best Friends, consisting of Orange Cassidy, Chuck Taylor, and Trent Beretta, taking on Blackpool Combat Club, John Moxley, Claudio Castagnoli, Wheeler Yuta, and 3 other people to be announced in a Stadium Stampede match. Now, mind you, we are recording this a little bit early. Cards always subject to change. At this time, we're not sure who the other 3 combatants are going to be. There's been some rumors that Santana and Ortiz may be involved in this. If you remember, we haven't seen Santana since Blood and Guts here in Detroit, and that was over a year ago. We haven't seen Ortiz really a whole lot either. Their relationship has been strained. I believe there's a little bit of a fictional strain going on between Ortiz and Eddie Kingston if you kind of go and read some of their Twitter responses back and forth. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out and if they are involved. But if they are going to be on this show, I believe it will be in this spot. Who do you have winning? Do you have Blackpool Combat Club +3, or do you have Eddie Kingston and the crew taking them down?
Nope, Blackpool Combat Club, violent, baby. It's a crazy match. A lot of things could change. But yeah, Blackpool Combat Club going to be violent. This is their match. This is their match to handle business, and the crowd's going to love it. I wonder where this one's going to go all the way through the stadium, baby. If it goes up to form, this one's going to deliver, and it's going to be pretty violent. There could be injuries, long-lasting injuries from this match as well.
Yeah, I think Blackpool Combat Club wins this as well. Again, having 3 contenders still out there and not being named, I think that kind of adds a bit of a curveball, a little bit of a wild card. And look, as much as I love Eddie Kingston and I love the Lucha Brothers and I get hyped for Trent Beretta every time he comes out, I think Blackpool Combat Club, this is their match, right? This is in their wheelhouse. This is a group that talks about and lives, breathes violence, and this is what this match is supposed to be. I don't know how you have them lose this. If you want to completely discredit them and what they are, and I don't know why you would want to do that, you would have them lose this match. So I've got Blackpool Combat Club winning this because, again, this is their calling card. This is what it is. We've got the AEW Women's World Championship match. We've got Hikaru Shida taking on Toni Storm, taking on Saraya, and we, at this time, still do not know who the 4th combatant will be. I think you keep the belt on Shida. I think it just makes sense. Unless Jamie Hayter is that 4th combatant and she's able to come back, which I don't believe she is because she's not in the tournament to get into this. I think Shida is your champion. I like the belt on her. I didn't have a great sense of anything when Toni Storm was champion. It probably would be a nice moment for Saraya. Honestly, it probably would be a really nice moment for Saraya, especially being there. You know what? I just talked myself out of it. I'm going to go Saraya. Look, you're in the UK. You're in England. Saraya, it just makes sense. It's like a homecoming of sorts. I don't necessarily care for her character, but I think it makes sense. I talked myself out of it. I gave you a whole bunch of word salad on Hikaru Shida, only to talk myself into a circle, and I'm going to go Saraya.
Yeah, I thought you just handed me the title. Man, okay, yeah, no, it's simple. The pop goes to Saraya, and it's easy. That's the easiest one. That's the only one I started. Is probably the lock of the night, is that Saraya's going to get the title in England. It's just, you got to do it. So that's what's going to happen.
All right, so we're in lockstep there. We move on to the AEW World Championship. Again, Adam Cole, MJF pulling double duty on this card. They rest the 0-hour kickoff show. And now you've got to come back, and MJF will be defending his title against Adam Cole. How does this play out? Does Adam Cole become the new AEW World Champion, or does MJF retain his belt? Or is there some shenanigans that take place?
Man, it's tough because my notes are back and forth. It's 50-50. You can make a lot of arguments either way. What's best for business? I mean, it doesn't feel like Adam Cole yet is ready. It just feels like, maybe there's going to be some shenanigans. I don't see, and maybe I'll be wrong when it happens, but I don't see Adam Cole as the guy that needs to be the world champ right now. You got a good thing going with MJF. He's good on the promo, good on the mic, good everywhere, good in the vignettes. People love to hate him. It does, and I don't know. Maybe I'll be proven wrong when you see it, but I cannot put money into Adam Cole. Given his health injury, given his situation, he's got an entrance that people like, but I don't think he's got the AEW cred yet that MJF does. and you got to make MJF continue to be over. So it's MJF, baby. Turn in. I don't know who aligns with him, whether it be someone that we know, someone we don't know, somebody new. It doesn't matter. MJF is the top guy, and I just see Adam Cole being a far distant second.
Yeah, I've got MJF winning this as well. I just don't think it's time to take the title off of him, especially if what happens in our next match happens the way I think it's going to play out. I think at some point you will have a battle for whatever the actual real AEW World Championship is. So we both have MJF, which leads us to CM Punk versus Samoa Joe for what CM Punk deems the real World Championship. I think CM Punk wins this. And again, what I think happens here is Punk wins, and later on, remember, we were supposed to get a CM Punk MJF match a long, long time ago. And you were supposed to get a face MJF, and you were supposed to get a heel CM Punk. I think we're going to get that. I think things got postponed because CM Punk was constantly hurt, and then he went all crazy with Brawl Out, while MJF just basically continued to rise. I think we end up getting this. I think CM Punk goes full heel on this show, becomes the real bad guy, retains what he deems the real World Championship, and then at some point we will have MJF, CM Punk to unify whatever belt is the actual belt.
Agree. No contest at all. It's going to be a fun match, maybe a little violent, but CM Punk all the way, all day, twice on Sunday.
All right, so for the most part, we are in lockstep. We both have MJF and Adam Cole winning the ROH World Tag Team Championship. We both have the Young Bucks taking the belt off of FTR to become the new AEW World Tag Team Champions. We both have Darby Allin and Sting winning a coffin match. We do differ when it comes to gold, however. I've got the Golden Elite beating the Bullet Club Gold team, while you've got Bullet Club Gold taking out the Golden Elite. We both have Will Ospreay defeating Chris Jericho, and we both have the BCC taking out Eddie Kingston and crew. We've got Saraya being crowned the new AEW Women's World Champion, as well as MJF retaining his belt and CM Punk retaining his belt so they can meet head-on like a freight train later on. When it comes to calling the card, Doc still has a 1-point lead. I'm making it close, and I'm inching my way, but he still has a 1-point lead on me, 6.5 to 5.5. So we'll see if we can get that fixed up with this pay-per-view, and we can draw even. Would you like some news and notes before we get out of here?
Hit me with this week's professional wrestling news and notes. What made your list?
So a little bit short this week on the news and notes, but we do have two pretty interesting ones here. This WWE star explains why she did not re-up with WWE. Last week, news broke that Lacey Evans' real name, Macy Estrella, did not renew her contract with WWE. Instead, she wants to try her hand at something else. Speaking with the Island News, Estrella revealed that she is opening Sunny's Summer Cafe in Beaufort, South Carolina. The location will be brightly colored space where you can purchase coffee, a sweet treat, or something savory to eat. She feels like this is an opportunity to spend more time with her family and give back to her community she loves. Estrella said, "I thought I could be more of an assistance fighting a different fight than in a WWE ring. I want to focus on helping my community to fight against addiction and fight on mental health side to normalize mental health issues." She's also planning on using her cafe as a meeting place for support groups like Alcoholics Anonymous. Now, this former WCW and AAA star is dealing with a serious health issue. Conan has provided an update on the current condition of his health. In a recent interview with House of Wrestling, Conan mentioned that a match was found for a kidney donor. In February of 2021, it had been reported that Conan had kidney issues that had resulted in his hospitalization. He had received a kidney transplant in 2007, according to a previous report. Conan had previously spoken about his condition in the wake of the incident, explaining the serious warnings he had received from medical professionals. In an update on his condition, again, speaking to House of Wrestling, Conan said, "I'm feeling great, but dialysis is not something you want to be on forever because of two things. Number one, your kidneys, and they're only at 10% functionality. That's number one. And number two, dialysis isn't like, oh, you can be on dialysis forever and live off of it. No, you will eventually die." Conan would go on to reveal that the donor has been found, but there are steps before the transplant can be made, like a comparative BMI and weight loss for the donor, and there's still the possibility that the two are not compatible. So here's wishing Conan the best and the speediest of recoveries on his kidney donor and his hopefully getting a new kidney and it all working out. And that's going to do it for this week's wrestling news and notes.
Man, great week of wrestling. Good stuff happening. Man, the world of wrestling right now is probably the hottest it's ever been. Shows galore, storylines galore that are going to be impactful. Maybe surprise debuts, maybe contracts that you thought you'd never, ever thought would expire. Maybe they will, and maybe AEW is going to take advantage. We shall see. Can't wait for the pay-per-view. Can't wait to draft fantasy football at your crib and watch some wrestling. Maybe it'll boost my confidence and give me the ability to pick a team that's going to be competitive this year. It's going to be tougher than ever before. But it's going to be a great time to watch wrestling, and we'll recap it all next week and preview All Out, which will be all in the same week, man. It's going to be a fun time. Make sure you follow Adam on Twitter at AdamRSCROZ. Follow the network at Detroit Podcast. Make sure if you agree or disagree with any of our predictions, hit us up. Let us know. And make sure that you're in the mix and don't miss any episodes of the podcast. All you got to do is, anywhere that you listen to your favorite broadcasts, type in Detroit Sports Podcast and our content will find you. All you got to do, find us, Old English D, Detroit Sports Podcast logo, hit that subscribe button, and boom, when the new shows drop on the weekends or during the week, boom, they just show up right in your feed and you can enjoy our great content. For the Jock, Adam Strozinski, I am the mouth-breathing, mouth of Macomb, Doc John Macaroon. I can't wait to fire up the microphones for next week when we take over again the audio space and break down the world of wrestling on the latest edition of the Doc and Jock Wrestling Podcast.